Hello everyone, this is Michael from Valor Recon here today with another Valorant news video. Now in today's video, we are going to be going over a leak that has recently surfaced on Reddit claiming to have all of the abilities of the upcoming agent. So before we go into any of this, if you don't want leaks, don't click this video. Now, if you want to learn about the agent in a non-leaky way, I did a whole separate video today covering everything we know that's been officially revealed, and so you can check out that video. The other thing I will say is none of this has been confirmed, and there are some things that are suspicious about it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about those, but I do want to talk about it just in case it does end up being true, and even if it's not, it's an interesting concept to kind of look at. And so the source was a guy on Reddit who claimed they saw it in a Discord. So not much personal responsibility here for what is correct, but let's jump into it. There is a lot going for the leak that makes it look true. So you'll notice this is like an in-game picture inside the range with the person pressing and holding F1, which then pulls up all of the abilities. You can see their gloves, which, you know, are unique. They are not like anything else we have in the game right now. The abilities look pretty good. The icons look like other icons we've seen in the game. My biggest concern is that some of the icons look like they're just mixed together. So like Nightfall, his ult on the right there looks like kind of a breach ult with just some squiggly lines, and C's might be a Phoenix ult with maybe like a hand vector added in. So, you know, stuff like that. It is a little bit suspicious. And the weirdest part is how it's worded, but let's talk about that. These are kind of hard to read, so let's just take this text version. So C, Prowler, you can equip it, and you can fire to send a creature out, which will travel in a straight line looking for enemies and or trails. I'll get into trails here in a second. Hold fire and move the mouse to steer the creature in the direction you are facing. When the creature finds a trail or enemy, it'll move towards them. Upon reaching the enemy, it'll start a 0.5 second cook time, and the near sight, the closest enemy for 3 seconds. Only one creature can latch onto a trail ever. All right, so this is worded really, really weirdly, and at first I wasn't even going to do a video covering this, but then I thought about it, and the character is still about a month away from being released, and text that is in the game is probably one of the final things that gets done, because if they make the text early and then things change, they have to change the text in game. So if it would not shock me if this was created by a dev to basically let the people who are testing it make sure they know how the ability is supposed to work, so that if the quote-unquote cook time is not 0.5 seconds, they can mention something like that. And so it would not shock me if this is still a dev build, so not everything is finalized like the text. But that's the other thing that's kind of weird, is the only way this could have really happened if it's someone within Riot. So I'm leaning on the side of maybe this isn't real. But again, it's kind of fun to look at. So let's talk about trails. The idea behind this is that it's like this, you can kind of think about it like the wolves in Spike Rush, except instead of it automatically chasing towards people, you can control it, and if it sees someone, it goes towards them. And then it can track onto these trails. Now, I'm going to skip Q and go to E, because E is kind of how trails work. So E, you equip an orb, you fire to throw it, and the orb will travel in the air a max time of 1.5 seconds until dropping to the ground. Once it hits the ground, it raises back up and turns into an eye that can be destroyed. If the eye sees opponents, it will reveal them and apply a trail debuff that lasts 12 seconds. Can be reactivated in the flight to drop the projectile earlier. So it'll deadweight, kind of like a Phoenix Molly, but then basically, it'll spawn this eye. If the eye sees you, you get 12 seconds of trail, which means that you leave a trail behind you, so that you can be kind of tracked down. The enemies will see where you've been, where you've gone, all of that. And so instead of pinging you like Sova, it's a lot more aggressive and intimate. And so it does kind of fit that description that they had. But this did also come out after the description that came out with the state of the agent. So, you know, if this was revealed 2 days ago, I would have definitely believed it. But the fact that it's coming out just a day after we got information about it tells me this is a little suspicious. But either way, that's how you get trails. It'll leave it on the ground. You can actually kind of see it here. Those little blue things on the ground are the trails. And so then the wolves would follow the trails for you and then would blind the person. So it's a lot more like hunting. Then we have Seize, which I think is the coolest ability here. You equip an orb, and it does the exact same thing as the E, where you can dead weight it, and you can purposely dead weight it earlier if you want. And then upon hitting the ground, it'll lock in place and begin to cook for 0.5 seconds. After 0.5 seconds, a zone will expand out to 7 meters, and all enemies caught will be tethered to the center. Tethered enemies suffer 75 decay damage, are deafened, and cannot escape the zone by normal means for 5 seconds. So I assume this means it like traps them in a cage where they have half health and can't hear. That seems really, really good. If we go back to this picture, we can kind of see prices. That's 200, and they only have one charge of it. They have 2 charges of the Prowlers, which cost 300 a piece. And so, yeah, pretty good. They cannot escape. It can be reactivated again to drop it earlier. And then the ult, equip this ability, and then you fire, so it'll have like some sort of look of it, him or her holding it out. You can fire to send out a wave of dark mist. If the mist comes in contact with an enemy, they will be trailed, deaf, and decayed for 12 seconds. So, yeah, pretty good. If this is really the character, it is very interesting. I definitely get the Hunter vibe. Again, I do want to talk a little bit about validity in terms of, do I think this is real? I'm going to go on the side of no, because the only way this could have gotten out is if it was someone within Riot, and there are so many other things that have to go right for this to be real. This has to be a dev build where they would have had to have written description so that QA testers knew what to look for and how the ability was supposed to function. In addition, they would have to have someone who went into the game, took this screenshot pressing and holding F1 without any other screenshots involving the character's name, what else they look like, what their abilities look like, the fact that the ult kind of looks like reused assets from other icons, the fact that on the left pillar here, the left side of it kind of warps around the text a little bit. All of it is very, very suspicious to me. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, like confirmed to be fake, but I'm leaning on that side. In addition, for pricing, it's kind of weird that this person has 2 $300 abilities and then 1 $200 ability. Normally those would be kind of swapped. And when you look at it, it's the same pricing as Raze's kit. So it would not shock me if they took Raze, like a picture of Raze holding F1. In addition, F1 normally doesn't go this high on the screen, so there's just so many little things that just seem off about this, but there are little things that make sense. I mean, the ability icons look really, really good. Someone put a lot of time into this. The other thing that makes me doubt it is if you look right underneath the haunt ability icon, that bot, the trail like goes over him as if it was added on after the fact. And so just all of these things lead me to believe that this is not real. The biggest line here is only one creature, which like is weirdly placed in there, can latch onto a trail ever. Like that wording right there at the top of the first or the bottom of the first ability is so weird. I want to know your guys' thought. Do you think this is real? If it is, it's pretty cool. I like the Q being like a trap orb. It's like you're hunting them down and then trapping them there and then doing something. I feel like you get a lot of cool potential with the fact that they're deaf as well. You can do some maybe interesting things there. I want to know all your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe. Again, this is only a leak, so don't take this as, this is the next character. I would expect, even if this is a real leak, things can change within a month. That's a pretty long time. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.